So welcome to Clobbered, Mark Webster, Mark Baxter. Please feel free to subscribe. It's free, hence the word free.
Really free.
Absolute first,
Yeah.
part 2.
Can
you believe it?
We've gone through, if you pardon the phrase.
We've
gone through.
We followed through.
We followed through.
And we followed through to Leather Report part 2 because we had so much fun discussing the nature of leather in clothing. We went around the block loads of times about the cycling jacket, but now, and we just passed Elvis. And the reason we got in the first place is because of the fact that Farrell, as you can see in this picture here, is sporting a classic bomber jacket that Vivienne Westwood has made that he's got on, coupled with the filmmaker and friend of ours, Johnny Owen, wearing an Avirex.
No, Belstaff
flying coat. So this is why we went into leather, and this is why we're here now. But we arrived now in the 70s, which is where leather kind of landed for the guys like us.
It gets wide, doesn't it? Wide.
Well,
big
my
lapels.
problem, it does. But the thing was, and suddenly we've arrived back at Saturday morning markets, which is where a lot of leather was. I think it was a tough sell to make a teenager get it right, because what we were up against was this man, which was Richard Roundtree.
You have a go, wouldn't you?
One of the great actors of Hollywood.
Draft!
Right on. who turned what they called the era of blaxploitation into an art form. Amazing. By being that good in such a good film.
Amazing.
But also to be in Uptown, up in Harlem, where it looked freezing cold all the time,
Tailors, yeah.
and showed you what a leather trench coat should look like.
He didn't care. Amazing look. I mean, honestly, big wide lapels.
Of course.
A big old coat. But man, he could wear it well. And I love that look. I mean, the film's a great film of its time.
Yes.
It's a great look. But for me, dragging it back to the mod world, Young Mod's Forgotten Story by Curtis and the Impressions. If you see that album cover, he's got a lovely double-breasted leather coat.
Are you telling me the leather double-breasted trench coat crossed over into that mod world?
Into the mod soul world.
Really?
Yeah, and Curtis wore it really, really well. It's a lovely look. Again, that's what I'm saying. We us of that fraternity know not to go there because it doesn't really hit our world, but we can't resist it because Curtis went there. If Curtis went there, we go. Well, if he went there, we'll go with him. But then we go, oh, I'm not sure. But it's a fantastic look. The double-breasted, I think he's belted. He's got the old belt going on, and that is important.
The leather trench coat, and sometimes the subtle difference could be pointed lapels, rounded lapels, because the rounded lapel ends up with on the Goths stalls in Camden Market, because that long leather coat is very much part of their world, and it's stayed there forever.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, again, if you've got that much leather on, it's a statement.
Yeah,
you're not accidentally walking around dressed like that.
When you say Goth, I'm thinking black leather. I'm thinking Curtis is definitely brown leather.
Okay, so the colours are a big deal.
No, it's important because
it's.
I think it's important because it's more. I think the brown's more soulful. If that makes any sense. The black's a bit dark and a bit, it's like goth, whereas the browns are.
Plus, also, let's be honest,
it's important that
we arrive at that world that is inescapable. Is the classic how well the Nazis were dressed, and they had amazing leather coats.
Yeah,
that's trench coats.
That is a bit of a problem with leather coat. Is you do go hair flick.
Yeah,
if you ain't careful.
And by the way,
very quickly. And who wants that? Not me.
And we arrive. It's called a trench coat for a good reason. Like much of the stuff that we would always talk about in fashion is it's just an arbitrary name. It's a thing for war. Much is this one, which I need to show you, which
That's a piece of
now
kit.
this, I can barely hold it up. It's returned to me from my middle son Matthew, who has had this in his house for 30 years.
That's a nice bit of detail inside, isn't it? What a lovely thing that is.
Now,
I never saw that earlier. That's a lovely thing.
It's got the lot.
Look at that.
It's got the lot.
Come on.
This is an Avirex bomber jacket.
Yes.
And
that's heavy, that.
And again, so in the 70s, there was leather as thin as toilet paper, bomber jackets that you used to wear, which was a very 70s look, long hair part of the thing.
Petticoat line, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And you wore it short, you pushed the sleeves up. This thing is the real deal. Yeah. The reason it's the real deal, and I'd kind of forgotten I owned it, apart from the fact that he brought it around my house the other week. And to the point where I thought, I forgot about that. And Mrs. Webster said, I used to wear that out.
Oh, well.
And she used to wear it when she had her white Levi's.
Oh, yeah.
And she remembers it well as part of her thing.
Yeah, it's a good look.
But the reason that's important is that is a classic piece of militaria, except Avirex, 1975.
Oh, I didn't know much about them.
They were made in New Jersey.
Yeah, I didn't know much about them.
But the reason I got this, and I can't remember why, possibly through not the straightest lines in the world, circuitous routes, whatever job I was doing, in 1987, and this is probably when I started owning this. So I've had this coat, is that 40 years or is that longer?
No, it's 40 years. Yeah.
It's 40 years. In 87, they got the rights from the US Department of War to make the A2, and that's the A2 bomber jacket, or what used to be called Jacket Pilots brackets Summer. So the reason most of those features are authentic. A lot of the jackets you see have got like a patch pocket on the front. And if you go back to that picture of Farrell, that patch pocket, so that's like an original A2 as well. But of course, this is that world of fighter pilots.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of work in it. I'm looking at it here in closer detail because I've not really seen it. There's a lot of work in it. And
it's a beautiful thing.
I say the weight of it, you can know that's not messing about.
Well, you may have seen it. So a company called Aero redid it, and Aero do loads of great stuff, even to this day. And in fact, Aero redo what we talked about in part one, the original British fighter pilot ones with the fur collars. So Aero's So a great company to talk about.
Yeah.
That is basically the jacket the Fonz wore in Happy Days.
Oh yeah, well.
Well said.
You know, good look.
And well displayed.
A good look.
And if you care to go to the American Air Force Museum, you will see in there, which is the other thing about those things, because there's very collectible about that world, is painting on it, innit? Artwork.
Lovely.
On those coats.
They've done some fantastic work on them. I love all that stuff. That's what I love. I love that.
Because it makes exactly. It's the ownership of that guy who did that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
If you go to that museum, you can see James Stewart's own version of that particular coat.
He was in the Air Force, wasn't he?
He was, exactly. He was the real deal.
Fair play.
Now, the thing about leather is it's cropped up in our lives so many times, but in variations and themes. I can't think of one at the moment at all.
No, nothing springs to mind. Nothing springs to mind.
Okay, I'll pitch one out there as an idea.
Go on.
Driving gloves.
Never had a pair. Never had a
What?
Now, can you see these, viewers? Can you see these? If you're in a getaway car in a Sweeney in 1970, you had these on. You were British Racing.
Okay, where'd you get them?
These are Dents. They're a company called Dents. I'm going to say Selfridges.
Really?
A long time ago. I don't know where. I don't know. In fact, I'm going to give it a shout here because my Uncle Jeff, who was a rascal, let's be honest. Sorry, family. He was a rascal.
I mean, they do look like robbers' gloves.
And he had a jag. He had a lovely jag. And he used to race it round Peckham in a scrapyard in a jag. He was the top lovely fella. And the man didn't care. The man didn't care.
Is there any point?
And he had a pair of these. And I've never forgotten that. And I don't know what they call it, aerated holes. I have no idea what they call it.
Well, no, but obviously because you need to get air in, because obviously you're going at such a
you're
30 or 40 miles an hour.
The old bill on your back. But he was and he had a pair of these, and I thought I've got to get a pair of them, and they were green, and I've got a pair of green, and I've had these a long time.
Well, I found these in Lower Marsh Market, and I think they were new from a charity shop, and
they look like ranch hands, like
that's why I liked them.
Yeah,
except I'm being mocked and chided for my family for wearing terrible drive. Oh, thank you. That's really good. But I also love the idea is. You don't need leather gloves for driving unless you've driven. Unless it's 1899 and you've got the massive things on, because they're literally no point to them.
Gauntlets.
Did you have a leather waistcoat?
No.
Ever because they do crop up.
That would have been They do crop up. No, not for me. No, leather tie is another thing.
Right. I have to tell you.
I have to confess. I was a bit of a Gary Newman fan for a while.
Right, I'm going to give you leather tie.
And he had a bit of a leather tie situation going on. But the leather ties with the little piano keys on them, no. I'm not going there.
No, that's fanciful and pointless and frivolous. But I know I wore, and to this day, I probably think it's how good I thought I looked. Probably because I just bought all the right Clobbered at the right time. I had a Take 6...
Great name. Great brand.
Beige shirt. Do you remember when the only colours that mattered were basically anything on this spectrum?
Yeah.
Brown across to beige. I had a Take 6 shirt with the penny drop collar and a brown leather tie. And I knew I owned the world.
Okay.
I own the world. Because who looks like that? No one looks that good.
No. The leather tie was always a bit tricky.
And I did.
Always a bit tricky.
No, it's ridiculous. And I look ridiculous. But it was a tiny moment. But the joy leather, the world of leather, is that it clearly is a thing that it won't go away. I mean, we'll all look around tomorrow, and the next thing you look at is someone's done something in leather that you got to have and you need.
Yeah, you can resist it, but it's going to keep coming. Yeah, it's going to keep coming.
And does this go out anymore, this coat?
Occasionally. I mean, I've always struggled to know what to wear it with. I've always struggled to. I mean, I've worn it a few times. It's 40-year-old. I mean, it's a long.
And there's the thing about leather.
Battered. I like the idea it's battered.
But 40 years probably makes that about right now.
I got this from Topshop. Topshop. Of all places.
Why does that make me laugh?
Of all places. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Okay. We've leathered. We can leather no more.
I'm leathered.
We can leather no more. It's time for new bits.
Well, I'm going to go with this. This was suggested to me from a fan of what we do, which is lovely, Jason Disley.
Oh, thanks, everyone. And by the way, the point he's making, if you've got the total thing, I don't have the conversations closed yet as I'm recording. Anyone who gets in touch, share your love. We can pass all the information on social media. That's exactly what we're here for.
This is an OCBD, Oxford cloth button down. This is from Next, of all places.
Good Lord.
And the reason why I'm giving this a nice little touch is it's £28, right? Now
okay.
That's a very nice price. And they've gone for the, well, I'm going to, listen, the nuts out there will know this. The Miles Davis green on Milestones.
Oh, totally.
The album Milestones. He wore
the greatest prep shirt ever worn.
And he wore it with the sleeves rolled up. And this, I mean, there's been loads of companies over the years trying to get that green. That green's quite tricky. I'm not quite sure Next to manage that, but for 28 quid, who cares? I love it. It's got the button down at the back. You can stop it 3 fingers in there, especially my sausage fingers. It's got a locker loop.
This is with your driving gloves on.
He's got a locker loop. All the details there. I mean, so now that's a standard for next summer.
So that's not. They've not accidentally made that shirt, have they? That's a deliberate effort.
And there's a nice range of colours. I've gone to the minty green because of Miles Davis. Make of that what you will.
Excellent. So I love that.
But thank you, Jason, for that little touch.
So thank you very much indeed.
Well, thanks for loving the programme. Thank you.
If you got some more, anyone who's got some new bits for us or any conversation you want to make, photographs, we want the lot. That's what keeps our world alive. I'm showing you now. This for me is really important.
Yes.
It's called Deja Blue, right?
No, yes. This is not new to me.
They're a company called the Hiut Denim.
Okay.
What I love about this, they're in Cardigan in Wales. Presumably where cardigans come
It's
from.
got to be, innit?
I don't know.
If it ain't, something's gone wrong.
Yeah,
here. Something's badly
what
gone
a
wrong.
remarkable coincidence.
Yes.
Hiut Lemon. Sorry,
I love the cardigan, by the way. Just throwing it in there. Just to cut your flow off.
No, that's for another day. Hiut Denim are in Cardigan. They've taken over an old factory. They've taken all the old material. They make Welsh, fundamentally bespoke denim. And it's all top drawer. But more importantly, what they do is with Deja Blue, and this get in touch with the website, you find it. If you buy their jeans and you wear them, and say, probably the two things that go on. You don't like the style anymore, or B, they don't quite fit in the way that they used to. They've shrunk in the wash. They've shrunk in the wash. They'll take them back.
Well,
and they will give you a £50 voucher towards their next pair of jeans. It's an amazing idea because they're so big on the fact that
great idea,
and they're big on obviously being green, for the boring word, but also denim don't die. And they know their denim don't die, and they want their denim to survive.
That is a survivor.
So they're like a self-serving prophecy on their own kit. And people return their kit so other people can wear their kit. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Denim don't die. It's a good phrase. That.
It's a great idea.
Right.
So well done to them. And so that's us. So jazz hands.
And
I'm Clobbered.